we're recording now. Hey guys, Heidi here, and I am excited because we are talking all things paint parties, and not only paint parties, but we have two friends here, April and Jennifer, who are successfully doing things right now in the paint party world, and I'm so excited to welcome y'all. Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. Excited to be here.
We were having a lot of fun right before this. And I was like, I really needed to have all that recorded because I think sometimes once we hit the go button, we turn more professional when we're really not professional. We're just here to have fun. Okay, so we have April here who has had record sales this month, like enormous amounts of paint parties. It's insane. I cannot wait to talk to you. And then we're also going to be talking to Jennifer. As you can see, it has a snowman gnome flurry happening. I love it so much, and has had some really cool success with illustrations with kids books. So you never know where this paint party adventure can take you. So let's first start with April. What is your business name? And just tell us a quick snippet about this record sales of paint parties.
So my business name is Paint with April, and I run it mostly on Facebook. I'll apologize on video for the pups barking. I'm the only one home, and I have two Catahoula leopard dogs. So
we are pup friendly, so no worries.
Yeah. So my record sales, actually every month this year has been record sales for me. Every single month I have beat last year's sales by quite a bit. It's getting a little bit closer now that we're in the busy season, and this time of year is always busy for me. But yeah, every single one. And I had 21 parties in October, and I have 19 in November right now. I think maybe 20 if I haven't updated this, and 19 in December. So those are in-person parties.
So in-person parties, let me just repeat for those of y'all that are still flabbergasted. 21 in October, 19 in November, and 19 in December. And she thinks it's probably 20 in November. April, when do you sleep?
So I am a master of using every waking moment that I have to get stuff done. I'm a multitasker.
Are you still working full time?
I am. I'm still working full time Monday through Friday. I took today off so I could be interviewed by you and not have to race around. And I have a paint party down at the high school later today. Doing Day of the Dead ceramic bowls. So,
wow.
But yeah, I've started going to bed earlier. So I really like taking better care of myself during the busy time. So I'm not stressed. It's so weird this year. I'm not really stressed. I've only had maybe 2 instances I can think of where I freaked out. One was my $800 canvas order had got delayed, and then finally showed up at 3 o'clock. And I had a sold out paint party that night that I had to sketch them all for. So that was not fun.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you have hiccups that happen, right? And I don't ever let myself run out, and I ran out of canvases and didn't realize it. So I typically go to bed lately between 10 and 11, and I'm Pacific time. So people in paint party world message me with questions all the time, and they're like, gosh, when do you sleep? You're always up. I'm like, it's because I go to bed kind of late. So between 10 and 11, and I'm up at 6:15 every morning. And lately it's been like 5 or 5:30 because my body just goes, ding, it's time to get up and get going. Like I've got stuff to get done. And so it's not unusual for me to have things sketched before I even start my work day at my day job. Like I'll sit, have my breakfast, and sketch things at the table. I'm setting up things as I'm doing other things. Like I take breaks so that I don't get overwhelmed with one task. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm a busybody. My husband's like, you're never happy unless you're busy. Like you just thrive when you're busy.
Yes, April, I can totally relate. Bobby's like, well, just take a rest day. I'm like, no, I don't want to be put on. Like, no, that's like the worst.
It's my rest day. Like this is a rest day. I mean, I do have days where I cuddle up on the couch with the pups with a fuzzy blanket and a cup of cocoa. It's all like just what makes you happy. So, I don't need a lot of downtime to like decompress. I've gotten really good at kind of self-meditating and calming myself down and just keeping the stress under control. Mm-hmm. And he noticed that. My husband noticed that this year. He's like, you're not really stressed out. He goes, I look at your calendar you wrote out for me because I put it on paper for him. Mine's all digital. And he goes, that stresses me out looking at that.
Yeah, that's a lot of parties. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And later I definitely, if you're open to it, later I want to come back and talk to you about what you're doing with that party money because I know it's a pretty cool thing. And okay, so let's go to Jennifer. Jennifer, I'm so excited you're here. You just look like you're in a Christmas wonderland and it makes me so
Damn.
happy. And so tell us what the name of your business is, and then also let us know what exciting things are happening in your paint party world right now.
Okay, so my business name is Crafts for UD, and the tagline is Art washes away the dust of everyday life. So that's kind of like my motto, because there's always things that come into our life that distract us or upset us or get us all worked up. And I always go to art. It just washes everything away. I get that focus and I'm just happy. So that's the business name. One of the most exciting things that's been happening lately is that I've connected with a local book author for children's stories, and she just saw one of my postings for like paint parties one day, and she messaged me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in illustrating my children's books?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." That's not where I was headed with my paint party business, but you just never know where this business is going to take you. And so I was like, okay, well, we'll give it a try. I'm definitely not a professional illustrator or anything like that, but she was just the sweetest lady. And she just gives me her script, and she kind of has a little blurb in there about what she is kind of envisioning. And then she just gives me all this leeway to just design whatever I want. And she has even this last book, she even kind of rewrote her story based on some of the illustrations that I gave her, kind of what was in my mind, I guess. I tried to do what she was thinking, but as artists, we're always creative and going outside the box a little bit. And so it's really, really been a fun experience. So she has like 10 more books for me to do. So I had to tell her, I kind of have to put the brakes on right now during the holiday season because it's just so busy, crazy with all the in-person parties and the paint kits and custom orders, things like that. So I'm going to put that on the back burner, and then I'll just kind of do that during my slower months. So
That
it was
is
a happy
amazing.
little diversion from my normal parties. So
Well, and as artists, there's so many times where we're like, okay, we love painting snowmen. Don't get us wrong, we love it, but we
yes.
paint a lot of snowmen between November, December, January. And so to
Yes.
have like, all of these cool paint parties and custom orders and art kits, and then be able to, on your downtime, like focus on like this illustration for this
Yeah.
book. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's great to have that. I never have to
Very
worry, at least for a while, until these other 10 books, and hopefully she'll write more. But yeah, so that's kind of something I have when parties are slow.
Yeah, that's awesome. And can we real quick talk about the cuteness of these gnomes? And can you show
Oh,
us what they do? Because I think this would be
I,
perfect to buy to put up at your parties and have a little
yes,
sign that says like buy art kits for your present or something. Like show them because
yeah.
show me
So
so far.
this is Slim and this is Stumpy, and these cute little guys, they extend what she gets out of the picture, but you can see he has really long legs, and they will stay in that position. So you can have them at different heights. And like Heidi said, you can pose these guys because they have little wires in their arms and their hats. So I'm envisioning taking these to like my paint parties and setting them up with paintbrushes or maybe the painting that we're going to be doing or something like that. And then they'll be up to all kinds of shenanigans around the house too, to post for all of my Facebook marketing too. So they're really cute guys. You have to get them.
I love them. And it would be kind of cool too to have like little mini wooden gnomes or ornaments
Yes.
or something like that, that like when they sign up, if you come hang out with, what did you call them? What were their names?
Slim and Stumpy.
Slim and Stumpy. If you come hang out with Slim and Stumpy, you get a free ornament or something like, something like that. I mean, it could take on a whole new thing. And I want y'all to notice, and I don't know if y'all are noticing, but I take notes even during interviews that I do. So I want y'all to please, like, if you're doing comments right now or you're writing notes, um, never ever like feel like you're in a position where you can't learn something new. And I immediately, as soon as I got on here with Jennifer, I was like, okay, where'd you get those gnomes? Because I already have envisioned of like how I'm gonna put, pictures of like buy your Christmas art kits today and all of that, like using them as marketing. And
Yes.
and I want y'all to remember, it's been scientifically proven, just you writing notes as you're listening to these wonderful ladies offering this great advice of them teaching paint parties right now, not just like two, but like a lot. And they're doing it right now in a time when people are saying it can't happen and it's not happening. And right now they're showing you that not only is it happening, but it's really happening. So never be in a place where you just feel like you've already learned it all. I've been doing this over 16 years and I will never feel like I've always learned it. There's always something new. And there's always a way you can step up your paint parties. And I just love Slim and Stumpy. I feel like I want to go get me a Slim and Stumpy and have them at all my parties now. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so let's go back to April. We're going to be kind of bouncing back and forth. So record sales, 21 parties, 19 parties, and then another 19 parties. I don't know if you listening understand like the crazy amount of income that brings in. I mean, that is significant income. Like for those of y'all that don't know, the typical paint party runs around $35 a person. That's just for a 16 by 20 canvas. A lot of times that's for an 11 by 14 canvas for $35 a person. So tell us, like, I know that's significant income and I know that is helping y'all crazily. Like, do you want to share how you're using all of that income?
Sure. Yeah, I'm proud of what we use it for. So I have two boys in college. They're 20 and 22. So I have a 5th-year senior finishing microbiology at Oregon State University and a junior working on his GIS studies. And then he wants to become a pilot.
Awesome.
And they're both down at Oregon State. And they actually went back to campus. So this is the first time my youngest has been at campus attending college because of COVID. So they were remote the last couple of years, which I loved my extra time. It was such a blessing with them because I could make them lunch. We could sit and chat at the table and I got extra mom time. So my heart really needed that with all the craziness. That was like my grounding point. And they get my business because they see me like on my breaks or on my lunches. I'm always doing something while eating to maximize my time, because when you work full time, you only have a limited amount of time to work on your business.
Yeah.
And a family time to me is important. So my paint party business pays for their college besides the scholarships. Nate's a 5th-year student now, so he doesn't have a scholarship this year. It was just 4 years. And so I really knew going into this year, I needed to ramp things up. Like I knew last year I needed to really ramp things up. My party business goes towards the boys' college and all that. So I'm proud to say that by the end of December, I will have paid for a full year of college for both of them, and they're have enough money set aside for their apartment too.
Oh
so
gosh, April, how do you feel? Like that's insane.
It's pretty awesome, but I'm unique too. So like the average party person charges $35 a person. I'm not quite that expensive all the way across the board. So not that that's expensive, it's a great price, but I offer small, medium, large, like different sizes of canvas and wood because I'm in a rural town in Oregon. And I realized really quickly that, my first like couple months in this business, way back when I started, I realized that I needed to diversify my offerings to get repeat customers and really take care of my customers and get them to come back with me every month. So I'm not always trying to fill the bucket up every single month because that's exhausting. And I realized really quickly I did not want to have to do that. So I focused on customer retention, creating an environment with my customers where they feel appreciated, respected. They know what my money goes towards, and they love helping me get the boys through school. They love that. I do donations to charitable things like Relay for Life for Cancer. I want to do Alzheimer's because my grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's and dementia. So that's on my list of things to do this next year. So I help charitable organizations around the area too. I do things for schools that are like, lower cost so that they can enjoy art as well. So I have big variety because my prices range from 20 to 55, depending on where I'm at, what I'm offering. And it's not unusual to have a party with me where it's 20 to $45 for a typical choice, and they pick what they want.
Right.
But some of those people that buy a $20 small canvas, you know, they paint with me 2 weeks later and paint a big, huge $55 board. So not everybody wants the same size of painting on, you know, every single time. So I cater to that niche market of like being versatile, and it does make my party income go up and down. But overall, I mean, I am having rock solid, like kick butt months. So
It's so unreal. Like I just every time when you post and I see like, oh my gosh, just y'all's success, it just makes me so happy. I just, oh my gosh. I know just buying being able to pay for Pixie's car. That was such a huge thing. Thinking, oh my gosh, she's gonna turn 16 and I just want her to have a car payment, just like that feeling. And we had her raising some of the money for it. And we said whatever you whatever you make, she ended up making $2,000. That's how much she had saved, which was pretty good for a 15-year-old. And so we said we'll match it. Well, we ended up being able to get her something nicer, but just that feeling as a mom, like, oh, that proud feeling of going like, we were able to give her this. Like, she doesn't have to be in debt right now with this. And that's one of my biggest things with Pixie with college is being able to gift her college, because I was in debt with college for over 15 years. And
I was too. It's life changing to start your kids off without that overhead debt.
Yeah.
And, people are like, well, but if they work for it, they'll respect it. I'm like, my kids work for what I do. Like
Right.
They help load my car, unload my car, not as much now that they're not home, but when they're home, they're helping me sketch stuff over Christmas break. They will be coming to parties if they're not busy doing homework. Like they love to be involved because they know my customers help them get where they are. Right. And so it just strengthens that relationship with my customers. And, I don't hide, like I'm happy to tell people what I use my money for, and I support other artists too. So, like with you, I pay to be in your membership to use like your designs for my business if I want, and so I don't hide that. And I think it's all about finding what makes you unique and then being proud of it. Like people think, oh, I have to design my own stuff to be successful in this. No, you do not. I am like standing proof that you do not have to, because I do design my own things, but not as much as I would love to. If I wasn't working a full-time job, I would just design all the time. But, I take other people's artwork and I pay them to use it. And so when you help me with my business, you're touching multiple small businesses at the same time. My suppliers, my paint companies, my artists, people I coach and work with, the ripple effect is huge. And I think that's really important in a business, to have that ripple effect that touches other businesses, especially in these hard times.
Yes. I think all of that is so good, because it's like, it's almost like that feeling of, and I love my friend Tamara, she said this other day, and she said, you can't outgive God. And I actually loved it so much that I wrote it and I tacked it on my wall over here, because anytime I'm like, you can't outgive God. And it's the same thing, like that ripple effect. And I love how it's because of what you're doing, it's causing, I mean, that ripple effect is going to go on for forever, because your sons are now going to have debt-free college. And I don't know, it's just congratulations. So excited for you.
Thank you. I was worried about that with all the stuff going on in the world the last couple of years. I was really worried, but I gave it to God. I gave it to the universe, and I said, I will do what I need to do to make this work. And I have had to sacrifice, some extra family time, but really not that much. Like I still have my dinners at home when the kids were still here. We'd always have dinner at the table. I have my time with my husband, not as much now that we're empty nesters and they're away at college and we've got the 2 dogs to deal with that you hear barking in the background. So I have 2-year-old Catahoula leopard dogs, and they like to bark. So
it's okay.
Any deliveries coming today though, so you don't get to hear the Amazon barking.
Lou may step it up too. If he hears you or Amazon's parts, he'll step it up. Okay, let's go back to Jennifer. Thank you for sharing all of that, April. It's so inspiring. And again, just a quick reminder, she's doing all this while working full time. So I know a lot of people think that you can't do things when you're working full time, but it's so untrue. A lot of times, people are more successful when they're full time doing something on the side because they do have such limited time. They have to make it work. And so that's just another example of that. So Jennifer, I want to ask you if you could share, not putting you on the spot or anything, but if you, you and your gnomes, I love it. If you, if you could share, what is like a tip for, okay, so you obviously have success here. And what is something you're doing? One of the biggest questions I get is, Heidi, how do you do all of the things you're doing? And time management. So what, and used to, I was a one woman show, just like we all are when we're starting out,
Yes.
we all start out as a one woman show or one man show. And then, eventually we were able to hire help for our parties and do all of those things. So what would you say time management wise, what's a tip or what helps you be successful to get all this done?
Okay, so I'm definitely a one woman show as well, and have been since about 2020 when I joined. I'm also very busy, work full time job. We have a hobby farm on top of that, and 10 grandchildren, and
Wait, what?
families,
10
10
grand?
grand 10 grandchildren. We just
You
had
don't
our
even
10th
look like
last week.
you don't even look like if you could have grandkids.
Yes, yes, yes,
Oh,
and they're a huge part of our life, and family time is very important too. But deep down, I really wanted this paint party business to take off, and eventually, someday, I want to be able to move to that and get out of my full time job. But I'm not there yet, and so I have to balance all these different things because I don't want to give up family time. I don't want our hobby farm to go downhill because that's important for our grandkids and my full-time job I need, so until this other business takes off. But I think I was really thinking about it because when I first joined in 2020, I feel like everything that came out in PPHQ I had to do. This ceramic came out, this canvas painting came out, doing paint kits was a thing, and trying to do all these different things, and I went for it. I was like, okay, I'm ready. I can do this. I used to be a teacher for 10 years. I've got this, but I kind of let my teacher background fall to the backside, and I found myself just kind of a snowball effect to where I just got depressed, and to the point like I was like, oh, I can't do this. So I took a step back, and as a teacher, I like to think of visuals. And so in my mind, I decided that building this business is kind of like a game of Jenga. So, the building blocks. So you have to start at your foundation, right? So a Jenga game, if you're going to build that tower, you start at the bottom and you add block by block by block until the whole thing is complete. You don't start putting pieces up and down all
right.
over the Jenga game. So I was like, okay, I need to go back. And so I took a step back, and I was like, okay, so I have all these other things that I need to do. When am I going to fit in the things that I know I have to do or need to do to grow the business? And so I just got post-it notes, and I started writing down on post-it notes definite things like, create a reel. I need to do a post. I need to email 5 places, each day. I need to follow up with this person or that person, or I need to do the sketching. And I just kind of wrote down some of the basic things that I would have to do and gave it like a time, like, this is going to take me 15 minutes. This is going to take 30 minutes. And I kind of looked at that and I thought about my day. And so I just plug in whenever I have those breaks. So if I have to get up 30 minutes early, then I do whatever it is on that post-it that takes 30 minutes. Or if it's a lunch break or a quick bathroom break, because I work from home, then I might do something that's like, a 10-minute thing. But I didn't try to do them all at once. I started back with the basics, and I just started doing kind of going back through your stages of training that PPHQ has. And I just started building those. And instead of trying to do everything at one time and let that Jenga game tumble, I just did one at a time until it was solid. And so I feel like I'm in a much better place now, as emotionally, mentally, and being able to really give the joy to others what I think is art. So, I mean, that was the whole point, was it brought me peace and happiness, and I wanted to give that to other people. But if you're all in your head about trying to do everything at one time, you can't be the best you, and you can't give that to the other people that you're trying to give this to. So, I think it's just figuring out what it is, the main things you need to do, how much time is that going to take, and then, uh-oh, there you are. Did you go away?
I'm here. No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. And just go for it in that way. So that's kind of how I think about it. I just break it up into little sections instead of looking at the whole picture, because it's just too overwhelming when you think about, I mean, for those that are new,
Mhm.
you have no idea. But it's all doable, but just don't try to do it all at once. I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest tip that I could give, is don't try to do everything all at once, because it's just too overwhelming. But if you do little bits and you master those, then you're kind of doing those without thinking. And
Yeah.
then you take on something else, and you do that for a while until it's just there. It's just natural. You don't really think about it. So I think that's
Yeah.
probably my tip.
No, that's so true. I love your Jenga analogy. Like I always do the juggling analogy. Like,
Um,
you get one ball in the air, and then when you can teach paint parties with your blindfold on, then of course you can add art kits, you can do all of that. But
right.
I love the analogy of Jenga, because it's so true, because we are building these businesses,
Mhm.
and it does take time. But I first gotta ask, and then I want to
Yes.
touch on one thing real quick. What does a hobby farm mean?
It means that we're not farmers. Actually, I should say a hobby ranch. I guess we're ranchers is what I was told. But so we just have a few, like, alpacas, goats, cows, chickens, things like that. Just a few of the different animals, and we're not really in it making tons of money either, but it's just a hobby. It's fun. The
Oh my
grandkids
God.
love it. And eventually I'm hoping to, like, a she shed here, or a party barn where I could have paint parties here, and and then that would be in the farm environment and things like that. But that's kind of a goal down the road. But yes, that's what a
Oh,
hobby farm is.
I love that. I've been seeing the post where they're having like goats at the paint parties and
Yes.
alpacas at the paint. Like that's a dream. I want to do that one day so bad.
Yes.
So fun. Okay, so I wanted to really quick say this to both of y'all. There is something to be said for the respectfulness of knowing it's okay to work full time while you're building your business. And I just want to say, like, just honor both of you for doing that, because it's hard. I mean, while I was building my business, I was so terrified because of the bankruptcy. I was so terrified to let go of my full-time job as a teacher, because I was just, even though I was teaching enough paint parties to supplement, I was just so scared, and that
Right.
fear. And I think that a lot of times online, on social media, there's this rhetoric of, quit your job, everything will be fine, blah blah blah. And we know as business owners, it's not like this. It's like this.
Uh,
And it's very
yes.
like, yay, I'm a winner. And then, oh my gosh, my party canceled. Like, it's so
Yes.
up and down. And I think that
Mhm.
that honesty needs to be spoken more, and not be in a place of like, well, I'm just going to quit my job and start paint parties and everything will be fine. Like, I think when people have that, it's almost a naive sense. And I'm one of those people, like, I'm a big dreamer. Y'all know that about me.
Mhm.
And I will continue to always dream big and follow those dreams. But there's also a realistic part of like, hey, my electric bill's got to be paid. And so
Right.
I'm going to make sure. And Pixie loves
Yes.
to eat enough for 45 people. And so, and so it's like, that realization. And I think it's just so honorable for people who are working full time and doing this on the side. And it also gives you the freedom to pay for your kids' college with that extra money, or, whatever, do your hobby farm while you're doing this, because then you can build it slow, you can build it faster,
Mhm.
whatever speed you want. So I just want to take a second for all of y'all out there that just think that you can't do this if you're not working, if you have a full-time job, so there's no way you can do this. Well, here's two wonderful women that are proving you wrong. So I just want to tell you that it can be done. Okay, so I want to ask one more question before we finish here. Okay, so let's start with April. April, can you tell us what is your first start with what is your least favorite thing about being an entrepreneur? And what is your most favorite thing about being this paint party entrepreneur? Oh, so sorry. Let me see if it's unmuted.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Sorry. My dogs decided to velociraptor wrestle in the middle of her talking. So I'm so sorry. I don't yell at kids, I yell at dogs.
No worries.
Okay, so let's see. My least favorite thing of being an entrepreneur.
Maybe let's phrase it as your most challenging part of being a creative entrepreneur.
So at first it was keeping myself focused on what I needed to get done. And I say at first, because now that's not a challenge. But that was my biggest struggle because people say I'm a unicorn. I guess I have a business mindset. So I focus on numbers and profit margins and all that really easily, but I also am creative. So I'm like a weird mix. So people say I'm a unicorn. So I had to keep myself focused to get things done and not go down that creative squirrel trail that we all know.
Mm-hmm.
Are they wrestling? They're not fighting, they're playing.
They're having a fun time.
They're over wrestling by the couch, yeah. Because mom's being interviewed, so we got to be part of it too. They can't jump on my lap because I have the screensaver on, because otherwise you'd see their faces popping up and down.
Oh, that would be awesome, actually.
Boys, stop, please. Anyway, so that was my biggest challenge, and I had to just by habit and forcing myself to stay focused and doing the post-it note list that she talked about. I used to make lists and make myself focus on those things before I could do anything else. And so now it's such a habit years later that I don't even think about it. Mm-hmm. So that was my biggest challenge. And
you overcame it.
I had, just with practice, making it a habit. I just had time this morning because I took the day off from work to go through and find my message requests and answer a bunch of questions from PPHQ sisters and brothers. And they're like, oh my gosh, that was like months ago. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I did not know where they went. All the upgrades and everything.
That was so sweet of you.
I'm like, I know it was 2 months ago. I'm so sorry. I wasn't ignoring you. It's just, I'm really busy. And so I don't take time to play and have fun and do different things that aren't business related until I have the time to do that. So it's part of that discipline that you really have to just, especially when you work full time, her and I both know that you have to stay focused and do what you need to do. And if you have to get up 30 minutes early, you get up 30 minutes early. Yeah. And it's not 30 minutes of playtime on Facebook. It's 30 minutes of my phone is face down. I'm not looking at messages. I don't care if the house is burning down. I've got to get this done because this is my time frame to get it done. So my most favorite thing by far is helping people create artwork that they didn't think they could create. And the joy that's on their face when they share it and they're proud of it. I have so many people that paint with me that are like, I never thought I could make that. And people compliment me all the time on my paintings, and they have them scattered throughout their house now. And that just makes my heart so happy. Like it is the biggest impact on my heart, is just helping people find art. And I'm self-taught, so I'm not fancy. I'm just a country girl that loves to help people be creative, and I break it down into simple bite-sized steps. And my brain's just weird that way. Like I can look at a painting, and sometimes the first time I teach it at a class is the first time I've ever actually painted it myself. But that's just how my brain, like that's my squirrel. So
well, and also it's probably a mechanism for you're short on time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know you can paint it, girl, rock it out.
Yeah, I mean it is. And when I've done like 5 or 10 of the same design, I mean, how many times do you need 5 or 10 paintings in your house? Right. So I donate those to like Relay for Life, and I finish them up. I foo-foo them up, as I call it. When you take it home and you finish the touches that you didn't have time to do. My painting is never, hardly ever like completely finished when I leave a party. And at first that was intentional. I never want to make someone feel bad because like I outpaint them. I want to be good and teach them how to do things, but it's not a contest, you know, it's about finding love for art. So I will now intentionally, honestly, be not finished so that they don't feel the stress. And that way I can stop painting mine and I can help them finish. Because I teach them step by step, like 99% of my parties. There's a few that go crazy and pull you down that rabbit trail, and I can never get back past my base coating. But you know, it's very few and far between that happens. But yeah, I'd say by far helping people create art is my most favorite part of this.
I love everything about that. It's so true. Sometimes I will just have my painting up and then I won't even paint my own painting. I'll just say, hey, who wants me to show the first step on their painting? And they're fighting over it. Like, please do mine. Please do mine. And so I'll be like, okay, step one, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And then I spend the time building relationships and helping, you know, and again, it's not about like, hey, I'm going to show you how good of an artist I am. It's never about that. So I love that. Okay, so let's have Jennifer share. So Jennifer, can you share one of the most challenging things of being an artsy entrepreneur, and then also one of the best things?
Okay, so one of the most challenging would be record keeping. I do not like doing the books. I don't like doing the tracking. I like seeing the results, but I don't like actually doing it. But that's so important to be able to track everything that you're doing so that you can see what your growth is. And then of course the record keeping so that you know what you've made and what you need to pay in taxes. So that's the non-creative, non-fun part for me. And then probably the thing that I love the most is I think the feeling and the look on people's faces when they first walk into a party and they see that their canvas is pre-sketched. You do not know. I mean, well, you know, probably, but I mean, people come in and you can see their body language, you know, they're very tense. And when they first walk in and then they see that, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I can do this, you know? And so that is like the main thing, but then that allows me to be able to build those relationships because they're not worried about being stressed throughout the entire painting. They're relaxed, so we can have conversations and we can talk and I can really get to know the people. And because I work from home now. And so that to me, that's my socialization as well. And the whole point of people coming isn't really creating the art. It's to build relationships and to get out, you know, and as a stress reliever and take your mind off of things for a moment. So I think that's my favorite part.
Yes. And all of you listening, remember that as she's saying, build relationships. I mean, we've all talked about that. It's so important because for your customer retention, like April was talking about earlier, having these repeat customers, you know, yes, they want variety, they want new things to paint, but at the end of the day, if you're going to have continual customers year after year, month after month, and they're coming together for something more. They're coming together for their ladies' night, their paint night, their time away, they're crafting, just to, you know, I know when I go somewhere and I'm just painting to paint, and it's not me teaching, it's just this relaxing feeling of just, oh my gosh, this is so awesome, you know.
And Heidi, those people, they become your best advertisers for your company as well. I mean, there is nothing better than an actual person telling someone else about you and how they felt at that party. It can't match to me to anything that you would post on Facebook. So it's so valuable to have those relationships for that reason as well.
Very true. Yeah, I can't tell you, I mean, how many times we ask for a recommendation for something. And if it's somebody we trust, we immediately trust that other person. So always bring in your best. Okay, so we're going to wrap up here. I have really loved talking to both of you. Let's have y'all share where people can find you at. And then just a final tip if people are wanting to get started in this paint party world. So April, where can people find you? I'm going to unmute you. Let me see if it works. where can they find you on social? And then also, what's your biggest tip for somebody wanting to get into this paint party world?
So they can find me. I'm active on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, but Paint with April. You see my beautiful face up there holding some type of painting. I need to update my photo probably, but yeah. And what was your other question?
So you can find her at Paint with April. And then also, what is your biggest tip if someone's wanting to get started in this paint party world?
Jump in now, because now is the hot time of year. It will fire start your business and keep that momentum going into the slower parts of the year. And take that to heart, because I typically, even through COVID, my only slow month is August, and it's not really slow. I still make about 2,000 to 3,000 a month during my slow time. So that's not bad money.
Nope,
at all.
Teacher,
No, that's good.
salary. Yeah, that's teacher salary money.
Right. I know. Like,
Yes.
I'm like, that's like my day job salary, it's like,
Yeah.
so yeah, jump in, because don't overthink it. Don't get paralyzed by fear.
Yeah.
You learn so much just by doing it, like way more than I can just break it down and tell you how to do it. Just do it. It's terrifying. It's scary at first, but we all go through it, and we're all still here breathing, and we're still having fun, and we're still doing it.
Yes, very wise words for sure. Jennifer, what would you say? Tell us your business name first and where they can find you, and then tell us what your biggest tip is for this paint party.
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook as well, and it's Crafts for UD. And I think probably the biggest tip is like what I was talking about before. Yes, jump in like April said, but don't try to take everything in at once. Do one piece at a time, as starting from the foundation and building up. And then one thing we didn't really talk about that I wanted to mention too is to follow up. We talk about reaching out to venues and doing 5 a day or different things. And I can't tell you how many times I did not get a response back, or it was, well, I think we're too busy for that. But follow up, because I have so often then reached out again a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, and then I get a yes. So don't take it personal. I think that's a big thing too. Don't take it personal when people, turn you down. It may be, everybody's busy just like we are too. So
yeah, I love that. Fortune is in the follow-up for sure. So make sure you are following up. Great tips, great advice. I'm so happy for y'all. And your dogs are fine, April.
I know. They're
background.
They're wrestling. They're not hurting each other, I promise.
No, it's fun because it's like a little ambiance in the background.
Yeah. It's like people yell at their kids, I yell at my dogs.
It's totally fine. Well, I want y'all to make sure you go follow them. They are very knowledgeable and kicking butt. And I'm just so happy that y'all took time out of your full-time jobs, your 10 grandkids, all of this busyness to
Crazy
be
dogs.
here. Dogs running and just so many different things. So I just want to say thank y'all. If y'all enjoyed this interview, please let us know in the comments. And thank you so much for both of y'all being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you so
thank you,
much,
Heidi. Appreciate it.
All right. If you want to learn more about paint parties, please let us know, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.